And but that's not important. But yeah, I did that, and now I'm about to do it again. So kind of start. You got your video camera ready?
Waiting on you.
Alright. Gentlemen, I shall be brief, but I would like to use my remaining time with you to remind you that this case is not a difficult one. It requires no minute sifting of complicated facts. However, it does require that you be sure beyond all reasonable doubt as to the guilt of the defendant. To begin with, this case should never have come to trial. It is as simple as black and white. The state has not produced one iota of medical evidence to the effect that the crime that Tom Robinson is being charged with ever took place. It is instead relied upon the testimonies of two witnesses whose evidence has not only been called under serious question upon cross-examination, but has been flatly contradicted by the defendant. The defendant is not guilty, but somebody in this courtroom is. Now, I have nothing but pity in my heart for the chief witness for the state, but that pity does not extend so far as to her putting a man's life at stake, which is what she has done in an effort to get rid of her own guilt. I say guilt, gentlemen, because it was guilt that motivated her. She has committed no crime. She has merely broken a rigid and time-honored code of our society, a code so severe that whoever breaks it is hounded from our midst as unfit to live with. She is the victim of cruel poverty and ignorance, but I cannot pity her. She is white. She knew full well the enormity of her offense, but because her desire was so much stronger than the code she was breaking, she persisted in breaking it. She persisted, as her subsequent reaction is one that we have all known at one time or another. She did something that every child has done. She tried to put the evidence of her offense away from her. But in this case, she was no child hiding stolen contraband. No, she struck out at her victim, a necessity that she must put him away from her. He must be removed from her presence, from this world. She must destroy the evidence of her offense. And what was the evidence of her offense? Tom Robinson, a human being. Tom Robinson was her daily reminder of what she did. And what did she do? She tempted a Negro. She was white, and she tempted a Negro. She did something that in our society is unspeakable. She kissed a black man. Not an old uncle, but a strong young Negro man. No code mattered to her before she broke it, but it all came crashing down on her afterwards. Her father saw it, and the defendant has testified as to his remarks. What did her father do? We don't know. But there is circumstantial evidence that indicates that Mayella Ewell was beaten savagely by someone who led almost exclusively with his left. Now, we do know in part what Mr. Ewell did. He did what any God-fearing, persevering, respectable white man would have done under the circumstances. He swore out a warrant, no doubt signing it with his left hand, and now Tom Robinson sits before you, having taken the oath with the only good hand he possesses, his right. And so a young, humble, respectable Negro, who had the unmitigated temerity to feel sorry for a white woman, has had to put his word up against two white peoples. I need not remind you of their conduct and appearance on the stand. You saw them for yourselves. The witnesses for the state, with the exception of the sheriff of Macomb County, have presented themselves to you gentlemen, to this court, in a cynical confidence that their testimony would not be doubted, confident that you would go along with them on the assumption, the evil assumption, that all Negroes lie, that all Negroes are basically immoral beings, and that all Negroes are not to be trusted around our women, which is an assumption one associates with minds of their caliber. But gentlemen, we know that in itself, this is a lie as black as Tom Robinson's skin, a lie I need not point out to you. You know the truth, and the truth is this: some Negroes lie. Some Negroes are immoral. Some Negroes are not to be trusted around women, black or white. But this is a truth that applies to the human race, and to no particular race of men. There is not a man in this courtroom who has never told a lie, or done an immoral thing, and there is not a man living who has looked upon a woman without desire. One more thing, gentlemen, before I quit. Thomas Jefferson once said, "All men are created equal," which is a phrase that Yankees, and the distaff side of the executive branch in Washington, are fond of hurling at us. There is a tendency in this year of grace, 1935, for certain people to use this phrase out of context, to satisfy all conditions. The most ridiculous example I can think of is that the people who run public education promote the stupid and idle, along with the industrious. which, because all men are created equal, their educators will gravely tell you that the children who are left behind suffer terrible feelings of inferiority. We know that all men are not created equal in the sense that some people would have us believe. Some people are smarter than others. Some people have more opportunity than others because they're born with it. Some men make more money than others. Some ladies make better cakes than others. And some people are born gifted beyond the normal scope of most men. But there is one way in this country in which all men are created equal. There is one human institution which makes a pauper the equal to a Rockefeller, the stupid man the equal of an Einstein, and the ignorant man the equal of any college president. That institution, gentlemen, is a court. It can be the Supreme Court of the United States, or the humblest JP court in the land, or this honorable court which you serve. Our courts have their faults, as does any human institution. But in this country, our courts are our great levelers, and in our courts, all men are created equal. Now, I'm no idealist to believe firmly in the integrity of our courts and the jury system. That is no ideal to me. It is a living, working reality. A court is no better than each man of you sitting before me on this jury. A court is as sound as this jury, and a jury is only as sound as the men who make it up. And I am confident that you will review without passion the evidence that you have heard, come to a decision, and restore this defendant to his family. In the name of God, do your duty.